Anybody else will join, and I'm going to do this anyway, even if it's just you and me, Navua, or forever, however long you can stay. So I wrote, welcome everyone, and it is just 1:30, so I'm going to kick off right now. I don't have a script. I don't have a big story I want to tell, but I want to talk about what I wrote this last week, something I call the power of persona. And, I was a little bit at a loss for what I wanted to talk about and write about this week, but it just seems right now a really nice tool to use across our lives as we try to step into the version of ourselves. Thank you, Navua. Try to step into the version of ourselves that really serves the moment. Now, let me talk about what this thing is, the idea of power of the persona. So, as you know, many of you, and if you don't know and you're new, I have been a leadership communications coach for 20 years. And the first 10 years was really about teaching workshops on, during that time. The last 10 years has really been focused on working one-on-one with leaders and entrepreneurs really, who have to use a moment on stage, and a stage could be in a conference room and there's 30 people that are on your team. It could be standing at an industry conference with 5,000. And so often, in the 20 years of doing that work, this idea of taking on and using the power of a persona to help you meet the need or meet the challenge of the moment has shown to be like super useful. And when I first learned this coaching intervention, I actually felt weird about using it in my classes and in my coaching because it kind of feels like a little bit of an acting exercise. And although I did show up super specifically, like for you, Navua, maybe it's about how you show up as a leader at your, in your business, or how you collaborate with your partners, or there's maybe you're going into a big negotiation as an outcome of this big economic downturn with your landlord or with your suppliers or with other stylists or other people in your industry. And you might practice your moment where you need to perform that negotiation, where you have to role play that conversation to see how is this going to go for me? Do I feel like my feet are under me? And if you rehearse it with your partner, with one of your, with your coach, with whomever has a chance to talk it through with you, and you feel and you notice and you get the feedback that it's not quite working. You're rushing. You're feeling. You're demonstrating nervousness. Maybe you're using language that's too casual, and you just kind of can't get out of your own way. You can borrow either a persona that you use in your life already. Maybe it is the Navua that shows up at that industry conference and has to run a workshop for a bunch of other up and coming talent, right? That's a different persona than maybe what you're doing when you take your niece to a movie. So you're going to draw on either a persona that doesn't seem like it would serve at that moment, but as one that you're familiar with. It is somebody that a fictional character that comes out of your favorite book. So what we're looking for though is the persona that I need have the talent, the qualities, the presence, the superpower that I actually need to rise to the. Well, you're gonna do your rehearsal, and if it's a performance moment, let's imagine also you're standing on stage and giving a 20-minute keynote. You're going to want to record that or have somebody witness that rehearsal so that you can ask this question. This is the very first step. And I facilitated this in my classes and still do. It's the most powerful question we can ask. It's actually two questions that we can ask that help us know what we can draw on, what tools or what coaching interventions might be relevant. The question is, after you've done your rehearsal, what is it that is working about what I'm doing? And what do I need to do more of? It's not about what do I need to stop, what's bad about what I'm doing. It's not about what you need to stop doing, because if we don't have a thing to replace what we're stopping, we can get a little bit lost and in free fall. So I want you to keep your attention aimed forward at what do I need to do, not what do I need to not do. I mean, even I've got two kiddos, and when a kiddo is carrying a glass of water across the table, you don't say, don't drop a question, what's working about what I'm doing and what do I need to do more of? And this applies to me even in my writing. I have to look at it, or when I ask for feedback, I ask what's working about this and what do I need to do more of. I need more courage. I need more boldness. I need more directness in my writing. Maybe for you as a performer in the moment, whether you're giving a keynote or you're leading a workshop, Navua, it's about like something more to do with like, I need more formality, or I need a slower pace. I need to find a way to kind of slow myself down because I'm rushing myself and it's undermining my message. It's undermining my presence. It's undermining my impact, but you can't quite get there. So you're going to ask yourself, what am I doing well? And what do I need to do more of? And once you have a clear idea of what you need to do more of, again, more directness, more brevity, more formality, more playfulness, more humor, more simple language, more explanation. I actually had a coaching a couple of weeks ago where the woman I worked with, she did not lack brevity, but she did lack detail. So maybe you need to let yourself speak something through a little bit more and take us on a journey. So once you know what the thing it is that you're looking for, you're going to survey the land of your own personas and the personas you're familiar with, iconic ones, archetypal ones, mythological ones, fictional ones, and maybe ones that are yourself, and ask, which characters in the world, which personas in the world have that thing, have that quality I'm looking for? Persona has the quality that I'm looking for. And identify it. Get kind of like, remember who that person is. Remember what that iconic figure is. What are you looking for? Are you looking for the Colin Powell in you, or are you looking for something else? So you're going to act as if you are going to channel that persona. Now, in a workshop context, what that usually looks like is literally me saying, okay, Mr. Director of Finance, we need a little bit more color from you. So I would like you to imagine that you are the most famous. So this is going to be drawing on a persona that's more of like an archetype and not maybe a specific person. The most famous puppet voiceover person, a voiceover actor for puppets, maybe, where you're going to really slow it down. You're going to let us hear and imagine the things that you're talking about and act as if you are that voiceover actor. And then what do? I have them do it right in front of the room. And more often than not, it really unlocks what they need to do to elevate their impact and influence and presence in the room. So it doesn't mean that they're going to be doing that at that extreme all the time, but they're going to get a sense of like, oh, that's what adding more color feels like, sounds like. They close the awareness gap between what they think it'll feel like and how they actually think they're coming across and how it actually feels to slow down and add color to your story. So I'll share with you who my personas that I draw on. And I have lots of different contexts in my life where I need to draw on the power of persona, whether it's how I'm showing up at home with my kiddos, or if it's how I'm showing up in a coaching engagement with a client, to my performance moments when I'm standing on stage and giving a talk or a workshop. Let me give you one. And now I have a whole 4 of us on here. It's so exciting. Please say hi in the chat if you're willing. I, a couple of years ago, went to auctioneering school to learn how to auctioneer for fun. And now I do auctioneering for women-led nonprofits and nonprofits that benefit women and girls. And what that means is I stand on stage and in an auction context, I auction off items, trips, art, and other things. Just like, you could imagine, I don't do the full like cattle call kind of auctioneering style. I do a more fundraising kind of auctioneering chant. Talk, people are there to see me. When I'm giving a workshop, people have been briefed on who I am and they're coming with a particular expectation and being in relationship with me as an expert. As an auctioneer, I am a mechanism for giving. I am not necessarily the talent that people are coming to the event to see, So I don't have a lot of rapport with everybody, but I do need to very quickly do 2 things: get into rapport and get noticed. Because it's really hard to live auction an item to a very noisy room that's not listening to you. And getting noticed and doing the thing that kind of takes up energetic space in a room without people saying, oh, look, it's Dia, we came here to see Dia, is a challenge for me and can actually be quite intimidating. So the thing that I really need is I need courage. And I also need a little bit of a surprising kind of energy in the room where everyone notices there's a shift of energy in the room and that I'm kind of the boss and I'm running it. And even though they don't know me, they didn't come to see me, I am actually part of the show. And so I channel two people. I borrow the power of persona from two people, from Annie Lennox and from Robin Williams. And the reason is Annie Lennox, from the time I was a kid, was always a very compelling persona to me because of her fashion choices that were so androgynous and but also so powerfully feminine at the same time. And she had just this incredible charisma, but more importantly, she was sort of an expectation breaker. You know, she was a status quo challenger. And she said, I can dress in a suit and I can be all woman at the same time. She had that about her that was so surprising and wonderful, aside from the fact that she had a voice that could just blow a building up. And Robin Williams, because that guy, to me, on a performance, he doesn't play by anybody's rules except his own when it comes to performance. Somebody could put a chair for him for an interview, of course, during his years when he was alive, put a chair on stage during an interview and he would turn it up. Those two personas are very powerful for me to step into the version of myself, to unlock the behaviors, how I show up so that I could meet the moment. I could meet the demand of the moment. Now, I wrote this week. If you haven't checked out my blog, you can go to, it's actually lives on asklikeanauctioneer.com, which you can get to from diabondi.com. And I'm about to wrap up here, just for those of you who are maybe thinking about staying or meeting the moment in a different way that might actually be helpful for us to draw on a different persona. You know, I am a doer. I value action. I want to know what the plan is. I want to get in and do things. And right now, that's actually not very helpful in my business. I'm finding that it can be fairly frustrating, and it maybe isn't action can turn into reaction really quickly. And so some of the personas that I'm starting to draw on are really personas that serve and awaken the part of me that is okay with ambiguity. The persona, if I act as if, that persona who can tolerate sort of not a lot of clarity about where we're going next. That is patient and present. That is a really important persona for me to draw on. And it just hit me the last 2 days that is something I need to be working with all week this week as I try to relax and go a little bit with something. But we can also draw on the power of personas in order to meet maybe a need that isn't about performance, but it's about dancing in this on Wednesdays throughout the rest of April. We have 2 more of those. And this is, as I was saying at the beginning before other folks logged on, this is a brand new thing for me. I'm on my own in my office. I have a freight train and a passenger train that goes by a few times a day. So maybe you get to hear that. And so for me to just take this time to unlock and get more comfortable with technologies like live streaming is what I'm doing right now. So thank you so much for joining me. You know, it really feels terrible to give a party and have nobody come, but that we had 4 folks dial in is just going to diabondi.com or just texting the word impact to the numbers 66866. You can just text the word impact to 66866 and you'll be on my mailing list and get my weekly blogs and any other notifications of stuff that I'm doing that you can participate in. So happy that you joined me. If anybody has any questions or comments about the power of persona, you can throw that right into the chat now. I'd love to hear that if that's something that is useful to you or confusing, or maybe you can tell me how right now you might be using the power of persona to unlock yourself and show up the way you need to actually meet the moment. I hope all of you are also not burning your eyes too much on too much screen time. I recognize that when I'm not coming to you physically live, but coming this way, it's tougher. Great. 5 are watching now. I'm so happy you're doing this. Thank you, Nivu. Yes, I am so happy I'm doing this as well. That's kind of all I got. Thank you all so much for coming. I'm going to sign out now. Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.